In a single moment, everything that we knew, believed in, and trusted vanished. The earth shattered. Water raked scars across the land, and the air turned to ash. Day became night. Oceans left the seabed. Forests burned. Nothing moved but wind and flame. The world we cherished was gone. What once was our protector was now a threat. The Younger Dryas Cataclysm retraced the face of humans' belief system. Nature was no longer to be trusted, and we took the responsibility for our survival into our own hands. We recorded this turning point in stone. This is where we stopped working with nature and started trying to control it. I'm Christine. I'm an anthropologist, and you're watching Our Forgotten Past. As the world began to recover, the survivors faced something new, a fear of the sky and of the unknown. The dust had settled, but the memory never faded. The earth that once had given freely had turned unpredictable, and their faith in nature was gone. So humanity did what trauma sufferers do. We built barriers between ourselves and uncertainty. Across the hills of Anatolia, people began doing something that we had not done before. We stopped moving and hunkered down. We erected permanent structures. Storage pits appeared, and we contained animals to ensure a steady supply of food. For the first time, we weren't just following our food. We began hoarding it. At first, these stores were simple things: grains, water, tools. But soon, what we were protecting wasn't just food. It was survival itself. The act of storing, instead of nature, became a sacred focal point. Walls rose, not only to keep out the unknown, but to ensure that we had control over it. Archaeologists now know these weren't isolated temples. They were nodes of a network, a civilization in the making, villages linked by stone and a memory bound by the same purpose: to master the world and the sky that had once betrayed us. From fear came permanence. From loss came order. And in the need to control our environment, a new way of being human was born. The scars of the cataclysm are everywhere. Blackened layers of soot mark the ground from North America to Greenland to the Levant. Microscopic glass spherules, platinum anomalies, and melt droplets, they all tell the same story: a world struck by fire from above. Across the North American continent, a charred layer of burned soil dates precisely to the same moment: the Younger Dryas boundary. It was not one impact, but many. An event that heralded the end of the Pleistocene and reshaped the world that we have inherited. As climates collapsed and ecosystems vanished, the survivors looked for meaning. They remembered the fire from the sky, the floods that followed, and the terror of a world unmade. To them, it was the wrath of heaven. And when the dust finally cleared, the memory of that destruction became the foundation of a new faith. The memory of this cataclysm left a deep scar on our collective psyche. It inspired us to come together in great numbers, spending precious time, energy, and resources to raise monuments in its memory. What emerged wasn't reverence. It was a record of an event that changed our view of the world and our response to it. The carvings speak a new language, one of dominance and power, predators, authority, teeth, claws, and the unmistakable emphasis on male form and strength. We were no longer celebrating the abundance of the natural world. We were validating our need to control it. Inside these circles, towering pillars faced each other like sentinels. Belts wrapped their waists, arms pressed to their side, hands protecting their bellies. These are the oldest portraits of authority that we have to date. For the first time, power had a posture, and now it wore the body of a man. At Karahan Tepe, the message sharpened. A starving, seated man, grasping his power in both hands. Rows of pillars rise from the earth like a forest of command. And now we have, for the first time, a face carved into one of those stones. The sense of the divine was forming, and it was no longer formless. Now it looks like us. Through these carvings, we can almost hear the thoughts taking shape. Order will protect us, and control is the answer. What began as a response to chaos was becoming the worship of control, the birth of hierarchy, and the dominance over our environment. We kept our eyes on the sky and built compounds to protect us. We formed the concept of protectors in the heavens, and the age of the sky gods began. After the Cataclysm, the sky became both our fear and our hope. The same heavens that unleashed our demise now held the promise of protection from it. The power to save or destroy us was assigned to rulers from above. Across cultures, the stories began to echo the same theme. Beings descending from the sky, rulers of the natural elements. From Anatolia to Mesopotamia to Egypt and onward to Greece, power was no longer of the earth. It was bestowed from the sky to a man. The concept spread like revelation. Power imbued from above into kings and pharaohs, their embodiment of gods and men. Each new civilization built upward, towers, ziggurats, pyramids, mountains made of stone, bridging the earth and heaven. These pillars of Anatolia marked the first known steps in that ascent. Humanity looking up, searching for safety from the sky that had once betrayed them. From their fear came faith, and from that faith, the sky gods were born. Civilization emerged not from abundance, but from fear. We learned to measure, count, and control. The seeds of mathematics, timekeeping, and law. Every act of order was a way to keep chaos at bay. The gods we created reflected that order, stern, watchful, and demanding. They offered protection, but always in exchange for obedience. Temples became fortresses of faith. Priests became keepers of stability. And humanity, once in harmony with the cycles of Earth, now bowed to the precision of the stars. What began as survival became a system. Control became sacred. Hierarchy became holy. And the story of the sky gods became the blueprint for civilization itself. As the centuries passed, the memory of the cataclysm faded into myth. The gods of the sky became the gods of order, justice, and control. What had once been fear of the heavens became faith in them. But buried within that faith was the trauma of our beginning. Every temple, every prayer, every story of a God above and humans below echoes that first divide between nature and man. It was never only about worship. It was about remembering what we had feared the most and ensuring that it would never happen again. The rise of the sky gods was not the rise of divinity. It was the rise of our own need to control what we could not understand. The myths that followed carried the same imprint. Zeus hurling lightning from Olympus, Ra commanding the sun across the sky, Enlil and Anu ruling from the heavens. Across every early civilization, power still flowed from above. We built hierarchies to mirror the heavens we imagined. A king atop his people, a god atop his creation. And though the faces changed, the pattern never did. We looked upward for our saviors and downward for our subjects. This structure, the sky god system, became the framework of civilization itself. It defines politics, religion, gender, and power. It tells us that control is safety and obedience is virtue. And it all began with a storm from the sky. 12,000 years later, we still reach for the same sky. Our temples have changed, but the worship of control remains. From glass towers to digital heavens, the architecture is the same. We still build upward, chasing certainty, fearing collapse. The sky gods have become our technology, our government, our algorithm. We have only changed their names. Yet beneath all of our progress, the same question remains: what are we trying to protect ourselves from? Perhaps, after all this time, it isn't the sky that we fear, but the memory of when it fell. Well, what do you got? What's your opinion? I trust that you're going to let me know, and you know where to put it. And I'll see you there. Thanks for watching Our Forgotten Past.